Welcome to all the new subscribers. This is one of the fastest channels sweeping across Europe. I do appreciate that greatly. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. A big storm system moving in, but I want to start with this. A new earthquake, 5.2 in magnitude, southern coast of Spain, rather shallow, running at about 10 kilometers down. That's why a lot of us did feel it. Know that I'm monitoring this, any aftershocks to see if we have any sort of kind of cluster of earthquakes. I'm monitoring the earthquake activity right near Spain, maybe even felt this back toward Portugal. I'll be watching all the earthquake activity as we go throughout the week, and I'll give you the updates on that, no doubt. Now let's swing back to this. Here's our new storm system moving in. This is going to be a big wind maker. This is already sweeping into Northern Ireland, We've been seeing this driving in a second area that's back behind it. These are going to change our pattern throughout the week. Now, ahead of it, we have those winds coming in generally out of the south. So we have some thunderstorms that we're still tracking around, watching some of those thunderstorms. But this area is going to be diving across throughout the week, a big change to the pattern, and it includes a temperature drop-off for many of us as this area of low pressure starts to work in. Now, we're already seeing the areas of rain associated with this big spin. Here's Iceland. You get back toward Ireland, over toward the UK, watching this spin moving in with that rain, but ahead of it, as I mentioned, seeing those areas of storms as well. I've been watching over toward Belgium, the Netherlands, swinging back toward parts of Germany, Austria for some of the rain on the move, but here's that spin just filtering in some of the rain. Not quite as much yet for England and Wales, but we're seeing some of this lifting up toward Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Ireland. Here are those showers and storms ahead of it. And then even watching back through Lithuania, swinging back toward Poland, we get back toward Romania, watching out for pockets of rain and even some thunderstorms. The thunderstorm threat is going to grow as the day goes on, as this next system starts to work in. So let me start here, then I'll expand out the view. The rain totals, the winds, a lot to cover in this video, so thank you for your patience. Watching out through the afternoon and evening, pockets of heavier rain will be possible, especially parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Ireland, just as all of this drives in, and then you see it working across as we work our way into tonight and tomorrow morning. Better chance of rain swinging back toward England and Wales, so it's going to be a sloppy go for some of us. Wind-driven rain as well with the gusty winds, and then by later tomorrow, we'll see this just kind of shifting right across and then sliding over toward parts of Amsterdam, Brussels. We'll see that chance of rain picking up, and then the second system starts to work in by Wednesday. This one, the second one, not as strong, but you see another shot of some rain that will be moving in. And look at the winds with it. The first one, that's where we're going to have some of the stronger winds. Cork, watching over toward Falmouth, Plymouth, for those winds just kind of driving in. That wind-driven rain will have some of the gust upwards of about 80 kilometers an hour right along the coast as we go throughout the rest of today into tonight. The winds are only going to pick up, and look at tomorrow morning. This is tomorrow morning. Really strong winds, southern coast of Ireland, watching back toward parts of Wales, swinging back toward parts of England. Those strong winds kind of shifting over toward the Netherlands, watching over toward Belgium as we work our way deeper into tomorrow. Winds switch more out of the north, Edinburgh back toward Glasgow, with those winds kind of switching out of the north and northwest, driving in some cooler weather. And then we'll see as this area works across by the time we get into Wednesday, stronger winds. Amsterdam, for example, will get some gusty winds. Here is that second system. Winds on this one not as strong, but as that second system moves in, we could have some of the gust over 50 kilometers an hour. That'll be a possibility by the time we get into the middle of the week. It will drive those seas up. Just as this moves in, we're going to see those seas elevated over 4 meters in spots. So giving you the heads up today into tomorrow, and then things will subside some as we get our way into Wednesday and toward the end of the week, but definitely elevated seas. Let me start big picture. Then I want to zoom down with the rain totals, the winds, tracking the storm. So here's this first system that will be moving in. Watching out for the thunderstorms that I already mentioned. Some showers and storms around spotty Estonia, Latvia over toward Lithuania, kind of hit or miss. And then this area drives in toward Norway, Sweden, Denmark as we work our way into tomorrow. South side, Austria, Switzerland, couple storms watching that. And then here comes that new system. This is that second one, not as strong, but this second one starts to work in with that next shot of some of that rain swinging swinging back toward the British Isles. Out ahead of it with this spin around Ukraine, Romania, again, even getting down toward North Macedonia. Chance of a couple storms by the time we get into the middle of the week, and that will drop the temperatures for some of us as the week goes on. So let me zoom around here. Here's this system moving into the British Isles right now. Watching out for a little bit of that rain in parts of Norway. I mentioned Estonia, back toward Russia. Belarus, a couple of the storms could be strong. Same thing in Ukraine, watching for spotty showers. Germany, Poland. Then tomorrow this area slides back toward Copenhagen. With that, we'll still see some of this rain just kind of pivoting around, and then you can see as we work our way from Tuesday into Wednesday, this rain shifting. Belarus, Poland, Germany, better shot of getting some of the rain. Watching that, southern sections of Norway and Sweden, not as much Finland, but here comes that next system that will be moving in as we work our way toward Wednesday with that next shot of some rain. Now, as we get into later today, watching the storms, Czechia over toward Austria, Slovenia, we could get some thunderstorms today. Monitoring that, now, not as much Croatia, Bosnia, Serbia, kind of hit or miss, but then a spotty storm in Spain, not widespread. Monitoring that earthquake activity. Portugal, we're mainly on the dry side. By the time we hit tomorrow, as this area to the north starts to work in, same thing, same spots, getting some of those hit or miss showers and storms. We have the heat around. We're not looking at a big temperature drop off in this zone, no doubt. That's going to be more to the north. But by Wednesday, with this area up toward Norway and sliding off toward Finland, we'll see a better chance of some more widespread showers possible, even a couple thunderstorms as we work our way into the middle of the week. Here's the big picture with the winds, and then I want to show you what we're going to get with the rain in some spots. So back-to-back systems moving in. Winds out of the south for many of us. That is going to keep us no doubt on the hot side, southern Europe. But as this area works across, as we go over the next couple days, not only some strong winds, but at least northern zones, that will bring us a change in the wind direction. That means a drop in some of the temps in our northern zones as this area shifts in. And here comes that second system as we work our way into Wednesday. This one not as strong. So we've got one area of low pressure here, another area of low pressure sitting here. So with that better chance of rain, northern sections, we'll see those temperatures dropping off. Now, we're going to see some areas of rain. Some of it's going to be heavy. So let me zoom down on the map. Let's start here. We swing back over. These are 3-day rain totals. So this would include that second system that's going to move in on Wednesday. So for 3-day rain totals, you take Ireland, for example, we will have some spots over 75 millimeters of some rain. It just depends on where some of the heavier pockets kind of pop up like I showed you. So you get back toward Scotland, for example, we could have some totals around 25 millimeters of rain. Some spots a little bit more though, especially if we get some of those bigger bands working in, even over toward Wales. Not as much toward London, just as this all rotates around, but we are going to still see some spots 10 to about 25 millimeters of rain pulling back toward England. And then you see here, this would be associated with some thunderstorms. Northern Italy, Switzerland, Austria, right on the edge of Slovenia and Croatia. Slovakia, we could get a couple of those storms around. I mentioned Belarus, Poland, Ukraine, where we could get some spots of 50 millimeters of rain with some stronger storms. And look at our southern end of Norway as this next system moves in, and then watching back through the Netherlands, some spots over 25 millimeters of rain. Poland, Germany, swinging back toward Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, watching out for some spots that could get over 50 millimeters of rain. Not for all of us, but for some of us. And keeping an eye on some of the thunderstorms, parts of Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, even some thunderstorms possible in Poland. Poland will have some spots again over about 50 millimeters of rain, especially if we get some of those thunderstorms moving in. Let me show you the tropics now, which are getting more active. Here's the coast of Africa, stronger tropical waves moving by. One spot near the Bahamas that will be trying to develop as we go throughout the week. So the tropics are no doubt getting more active, keeping an eye on that up and around pattern. And even the European model hinting at a little bit more development in the Atlantic basin. So know that this is something that I'll be watching, especially as we get deeper into the hurricane season. We're about to hit the really active period mid-July, and then just cranking up as far as averages go for named systems, tropical storms, and hurricanes. August, September, October, even into November. The last few years, as we've known, we've had some big wind makers as a result of some of the remnants of tropical systems. So again, really still at the start of hurricane season, but about to get into the active period. So we've got that storm system that is sweeping in, watching the strong winds back toward the UK and Ireland. A temperature drop for many in our northern zone, still staying hot, southern sections, and of course, monitoring that earthquake activity. So again, thank you for sharing this channel with your friends, family. It's really spreading around. I do appreciate it. I appreciate those kind comments. Be safe with some of the gusty winds, some of the rain, and I'll monitor that earthquake activity. Have a good start to the week.